Day 40 solution should be quite straightforward. All we need is a program to store information in a dictionary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the user for their information first. Should I be doing that? Well, good practice is normally to create a blank dictionary, isn't it? And then add things to it later on. But we're going to do it the retro way here because we're just learning about dictionaries. They're brand new to us. So I'm going to ask for the user's name. And I'm going to strip and capitalize as we go with a Z. There we go. That's where I went wrong in one of my previous solutions. If you've watched those and wonder why I took capitalize out and replaced it for title. Capitalize uses a Z, uses the American spelling of capitalize, rather than, unfortunately, the British spelling, which is what I was trying to use in a previous video. So I'm going to do the same thing now for date of birth. Now, all I'm going to do to this one is strip it. It should be numbers and symbols, so it should be quite straightforward. I then need the telephone number. Now, one important thing to remember about a telephone number is we never, ever cast a telephone number as an int. And you might be going, well, what? Why? You've said, David, you said to me that if it's a number, it should be cast as an int. And that is very true. But lots of telephone numbers internationally will begin with a 0. Now, if we tell a computer, here's a number, it begins with a 0, and it's an integer, the computer will go, okay, why have you given me this extra 0 at the beginning? I'm going to ignore that. And it'll store the rest of the number, which, although reasonably easy to fix as a problem, does mean the data becomes slightly dodgy. So it's always a good idea if you're taking in a telephone number, a driving license number, a social security number even, store it as a string because we don't want to do any mathematics to it. So just store it as it comes in. We don't want that leading 0, or the 0 at the front, to disappear. It gets worse with credit card numbers because you might have multiple zeros and then it gets very confusing. So next is going to be the email address. Again, I'm just going to leave this as text because it would have to be, really, wouldn't it? I'm then going to go for the real address. I'm not going to break that up because this is a very straightforward program. And now let's put that in the contact card. So remember, we start dictionaries with curly braces and we need to start with the key. So the key is going to be name, colon, and then name. So what's happening here? So I'm giving it the name, and I'm putting the value of the variable name as the value of that key. So I'm going to do the same for everything, more or less. Which makes the building of the dictionary quite easy. The one thing that a lot of people make mistakes on is putting the colon in the quotes for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but I've made that mistake a few times as well. It's quite easy to do when your brain's not focusing on the right bit of the work, or you're trying to think 3 steps ahead of yourself. It's also worth remembering as well that the name of the key needs to be a string. So that should always be there. So what we got? We've got the name, date of birth, telephone number, email address, and the address in there. And then I'd said print that out nicely, didn't I? So what we're going to do then is we're going to print out that entire thing. We're going to go print. I'm going to do F strings for this just to make it a little bit nicer. I'm going to print out the name. Look, I appreciate this is a bit weird at the moment, but stay with me. We'll be using loops in the next video to print them out properly. So I'm going to print out contact name. Now you'll notice I've used a single quote there for the name, and I haven't done that before for the key field name. The reason for that is F strings start with a double quote. So if I put a double quote inside of it, that's going to go weird. Saying that, we know which trick we could use where it wouldn't be a problem. Let's put that in double quotes, and we'll see if we can fix it by doing the old 3 quotes trick. And let's see if that works. works like a charm. The old 3 quotes trick works a lot of the time when you might be having problems having quotes in quotes in quotes. Let's put a little bit of a break in there, because that's looking a bit naff, isn't it? And let's copy and paste that. And we'll go for date of birth. We'll go for telephone number. We'll go email. And we'll go address. Make sure you got these field names absolutely right as you've written them in the definition of your dictionary. I was born on the 1st of the 1st, 1864. Wasn't really, I'm just trying to avoid phishing scams. Telephone number 01234 567 890. If you believe that, you believe anything. David.morgan@replit.com. My address is 1 House Street, Cardiff, CF 1 2AB. Again, made up. You see it prints that out quite nicely for me. I could, of course, go and put some colouring on the name, date of birth, the field name to make that look a bit different. I could put some tabs in to line up the code. I could even use alignment to make that look a bit nicer, but I'm happy with that as an example of how a dictionary would work. Dictionaries are really, really useful if you're going to store a lot of data inside of something that would normally be a list, and you need an easy way to remember what the fields were called to retrieve that data.